Hello, brothers and sisters. Cameron here. If you are here, one sec. This is a lifesaver for ethnic people with ashy lips. You are probably here because of this video that launched about a day and a half ago.
I don't believe in the Bible God because he's an a-hole, but I believe that in the universe somewhere, even though there's a lot of evidence that there's nothing out there, there could be another dimension. We don't know.
I am open to some supernatural and spiritual ideas. 3, 2, 1.
Yep, that episode. Welcome back. It's good to see you. I hope that your day is going well. You're probably here because of that video. If you haven't heard, I was on it. For the Jubilee Spectrum, do all atheists think the same? The first opening, they had to pick that. I don't know why they picked that clip, because I openly called God an asshole many times. But no, I do believe that the Judeo-Christian God from the Bible is a fucking asshole. And I'll explain why. That was probably my biggest complaint about the video. Like, I get it. I've worked in TV and news before and production, and I do these vlogs, and I work my ass off doing all that. You have to condense things and make it so it's chewable and digestible, and you can't drop, because we were there for 2.5 hours. You can't drop 2.5 hours of footage and expect everyone to absorb that. It's a lot. Although I'd love to see a part 2, something like further explanation, because we had a lot to say about the many questions that they had to ask. But God's an a-hole explanation. I did explain it. They cut it out. I don't know why. I wish it stayed in there. But I also get Erin, the director. She was like, it's very, very, people connect with people's stories. So it's very good if you talk about a personal story about what happened to you and where it came from. So we ended up focusing more on about like a little bit of ourselves. This is the one thing where I was like, I hope they don't cut it. They cut it. But I am here, and that's why you're here, to explain a few things. What was it like? How did I get on the show? What did they cut out? How did that really happen? Why I think God's an asshole. So you remember, I have them looking at my notes here. Remember King David and Bathsheba in 2 Samuel chapter 12? Google it, or bring out your Bible if you're a Bible thumper, and go to 2 Samuel chapter 12. I'll briefly explain that real quick, and then we'll jump into the meat of the video. So King David, a lot of us know the story of King David. He did wrong because he had Uriah killed, which was the husband of Bathsheba. So Jehovah God or Yahweh, whatever your name for God is, if you believe in the Bible, whatever you want to call it, he wanted to punish David. But the way he punished the situation, I do not agree with. And because of this and many, many, many other scriptures of misogyny, hate against women, discrimination, slavery, just outright genocide in the Bible. Even Jesus did some fucked up things. I can't agree with the Bible anymore. So if you, first I have to ask before I jump into this, if you agree with rape and murder, then you have some seriously fucked up views on the world and something's wrong with you. But what you may not be aware of is that God thought those things were okay to punish David. Okay, so I made this clip right now to summarize it because it ended up talking way too long. Please Google it, 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 11 through 15. King David sees Bathsheba. He wants to have sex with her, so he has Uriah killed, which is her husband, sends him to the front lines. And then God, in turn, punishes David by having all of David's wives/concubines raped in public by someone close to him, and then he kills King David and Bathsheba's firstborn, the baby, because of course it's the concubines, it's the women, and it's the baby's fault for what David did, because that makes fucking sense, right? That's why I call God an asshole, and that's why I firmly believe in that. I'm just disappointed that Jubilee cut it out. I get maybe why they cut it out, because maybe they weren't focused on that to begin with. They're focused on our experiences, not necessarily scripture, and that's why you come to this video and I can explain that bit. Anyway, how did I get in contact with them? How did they get in contact with me? I logged into Instagram one day because I vlog about this stuff. I've got a YouTube channel here. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, all at Cameron Fader. Yes, you should follow me and come say hi. And I got an email and a DM from a girl called Maddie who works for Jubilee. And she's like, yo, I noticed you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness cult survivor and you're an agnostic atheist. We weren't exactly looking for agnostic atheists, but your story is really interesting. Would you be interested in coming down to LA this weekend for a shoot? It's about 2.5 hours, the shoot. And I didn't know what they were, but she had a link to like their Spectrum videos, and I went through the Spectrum videos and I watched them, and they were really cool. Like, do all black people think the same? Do all Christians think the same? Do all porn stars think the same? That one really, that made me cry, the porn star one. It was just what their goal is, to humanize people and explain the stories where there might be a lot of stigmas behind it, and the reasons why people feel the way they feel and what they've been through in their experiences. And watching those, I was like, I'm on board. And a friend of mine, she was like, you are not gonna say no to this. Jubilee is really cool. And I've looked through their videos, immediately subscribed to the channel, and I was like, yeah, I get these vibes. I can fuck with these people. We drove down there, got an Airbnb. It was, the instructions in the email weren't clear that when you pull up, it was at least for the Spectrum videos, and it looked like a neighborhood where you get a crackhead parking lot where there's an auto shop in there. It was like bright blue.
So it's just finished with our Jubilee episode on atheists, and I tried my best to represent ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. This is where it's at. It's like a little, when I first got here, there's like an auto truck place here. I thought I was gonna die, but I did not die. So super excited to share what we've learned, and we're gonna go get food. See you soon.
I walked in, there was like chairs and there's like snacks and coffee. And there was like 5 other people that were just kind of chilling on some chairs and stuff. And I immediately recognized Michelle.
For me, growing up Mormon, it was just really oppressive. It was basically your life and your whole identity. And everyone that you even had to just hang out with or just be around was Mormon. You don't have a choice, basically. It's been a struggle for me. I left when I was 18 years old. I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly, because I do not like to believe in a lie. Mormonism is a lie, and it's a fraud.
Who she was or what she was from, but I immediately recognized her and couldn't figure it out until after the video. She's been on Instagram and seen her stuff. She's an ex-Mormon activist, and she owns Apostate Co., which has a bunch of apostate t-shirts and clothing, stuff that I love and I would love to support. So if you haven't seen her, I'll have her Instagram in the link below. You should go follow me on Instagram too, because I have everyone linked and some behind the scenes pictures there. You can see all of that stuff. There was a lot of questions. There was 2.5 hours. Anyone who's been on a Jubilee Spectrum shoot, 2.5 hours of questions, and all the questions were come from Instagram viewers, and they curate them, and they had a few questions thrown in themselves. The director, Erin, she went through them with us, and they cut a lot of really good stuff. So I feel like the video came out a bit more humanized and down to earth than some of our comments. I mean, because like, you know, a lot of us were hardcore atheists or hardcore agnostic atheists. I'm like right in between agnostic and atheist. Like, some of my viewpoints are very strong, very against like organized religion, and there's reasons why that I feel justified. But I get, again, why they have to condense it. So that's why, again, you're here so I can elaborate a little bit. Do all atheists think the same in this group? Pretty much. I mean, it was like 2.5 hours of us kind of just like agreeing with each other, and I think people got that vibe from the video. There was a little bit of pushback, and I was really proud of Evan he runs Atheists United. He was putting forth his atheist viewpoint with Victor, who was ex-Catholic. They cut his part about how he became, because he was, you know, born and raised Catholic, and he became a hardcore atheist because he got testicular cancer, which I don't know why they cut that. It's such a big thing, like for a young man to have testicular cancer and then no longer be able to reproduce. You could only look at God and go ask why. Ryan, she was ex-Jewish, amazing viewpoints. I think she kind of summed up a lot of the things that we said in a very reasonable way. Sad this was cut too, was that I'm cool with religion. It's just their policies that are fucked up, because a lot of the churches, Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Scientologists, they're all hiding child abuse, and there's tons and tons of cases, if you Google each one, of child abuse cases that they keep covering up. And I'm an activist, and I work on SB 360 here in California. It's a bill that has been passed in a few other states, but not here in California yet, on preventing churches from hiding child abuse under penitent law. And I was like, these policies need to change. They need to stop taking people's money in lying to them. They need to stop hurting people. Need to stop shaming people for being gay, trans, pan, bi, whatever it is that you are. That's pure hate. It's teaching it's okay to ostracize people and not agree with them just because they're different. Like my little brother came out gay and he was kicked out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And that shit's fucked up. That's not okay. To just judge someone and tell them it's their fault when that's just how they're born, and we should be loving, because that's the real definition of love. That's why I still can't believe and agree with most religions or the Bible. That we talked a lot about the emotional abuse that was cut as well, that goes on behind churches, the judgment, the hate, the hypocrisy. And if all those things weren't there, then most of us would be cool with religion. Like, yeah, you do you. You want to believe in the flying spaghetti monster? Cool. You do you. So much was cut. We had a lot of strong opinions. A lot of comments in the videos said that we were like a PG agnostic atheist group and that we weren't really atheists. And we had a lot of strong opinions that was cut. But you can see my channel is full of that. You should subscribe if you haven't. You should definitely subscribe and take a look, because I have plenty. Anyway, that is kind of in a nutshell what it was like. It was very cool. It was actually my first time in LA. LA was pretty awesome. Like we did grab lunch. That clip at the end was not BS. We did grab lunch after, and I think we went to like this little Mexican taqueria. Some of the best carne asada tacos I've had, and it was just this random ass like taqueria. Amazing food, but really great experience. Very humbled. Would do it again. And how did I get on there? So my case was different. I got DM'd and emailed to be a guest on the show. And I guess if you've been a vlogger and your content has been talking about a certain subject passionately, you may randomly get emailed or messaged. But this is also another way that you do it. I just found out that they're holding they're going to be shooting more stuff in January for cult survivors. I'm going to apply again. If you go to Jubilee's website, there's a form that you fill out, a little bit about yourself, and they want people who are opinionated. They want people who have strong stances on things and who are not afraid to be on camera and say what they have to say and feel what they have to feel. Just very grateful to be given the opportunity beyond Jubilee's massive channel, because my goal on being on there was to let as many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Mormons and other agnostic atheists and people maybe questioning the Q, that it's okay and they don't feel like they're alone, but most of all, that they're not stigmatized, that agnostic atheists are just these evil, mean, hateful people. I have strong opinions and I'm a strong personality, but I wouldn't say that I'm an evil, mean person. And I hope that come across on the video. And everyone else felt like that in that room with us too. We all felt like just logical people who are like, and we even admitted, like, we would believe in a God if we could see evidence and if we could see miracles and if it was shown as proof and science backed it up. We're open to that. And questioning our beliefs is healthy. Anyway, Michelle's closing with the Mr. Rogers quote that, Mr. Rogers, because one of the questions was like, hey, are there religious people that you look up to? Like, do you look down to them? And we were all like, no, there's tons of religious people that we look up to. Like Charlemagne the God, he's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. Love his stuff. Childish Gambino, he was ex-Jehovah's Witness as well. But there's Mr. Rogers is very Christ-like. And who am I to say, Mr. Rogers, you need to stop. That needs to be on a fucking plaque in my wall, in my bedroom. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed that. The vlog will be coming back next week. I've got some really interesting stuff. I'm very excited to get the vlog back on its feet. Thank you again for watching. And thank you again for donating to the GoFundMe. What do you all think about brands, like little bands, like rubber bracelets that say like XJW or Worldly or Freedom? What do you think about that? I'm thinking about coming out with some, because I've always wanted something now to be proud of where we came from and what we are now, because that in itself is showing that the judgment and the hate that we got growing up in cults is no longer controlling us, and we're proud of what we've become today. It's another way of letting go. Thinking about doing that. Let me know your thoughts and comments, and I'll do a survey probably in the next week or two of what y'all think, and maybe we'll have them ready soon to sell on a website. I always want something to show that I'm proud of the growth and the progress that I'm making. Anyway, brothers and sisters, this vlog is going on really long. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and here. Subscribe on YouTube. Talk to you soon.